What's up, guys? I am finally taking a moment to talk about the Confessions Project after a year of being out. And I don't know how many of you guys have seen it, how many of you guys have actually had an opportunity to listen to the lyrics of this album. I literally poured my heart out on this album, and I am excited about what God is going to do through this project. Stay tuned. We are definitely living in a season where there is so much hatred, so much calamity, so much hurt, so much grief, so many people wounded. The enemy is just going around destroying households, destroying families, destroying people. I mean, it breaks my heart to know that we as a church haven't been present like we needed to be. And we were so busy caught up in looking good that we forgot who we were being. And we're experiencing the fruits of that now. Have you ever been in a position where you prayed and you pleaded with God because you wanted something to work out so bad and it didn't? Even though you felt like you had done everything you knew how to do, fasted, just laid on your face prostrate before the Lord, just gave up everything that you thought would hinder your blessings and your favor, and God still said no. That was my experience. I went through that when I was pleading for my marriage. I wanted God to save my marriage. I wanted him to heal my husband. I wanted him to heal our relationship. But that didn't happen. And because that didn't happen, I went into a state of rebellion. I didn't want to worship anymore. I didn't want to sing anymore. I literally just wanted to sit down. I'm going to tell y'all something. Since I've been divorced, now going on with 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 5 years, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Golly, it's been almost 5 years. I need a man. Golly, 5 years? It's been almost 5 years since I've been divorced. I cannot believe it. I've been living in this house for 2 years now. 2019, 2020, 2021. 3 years. I've been in this house. Wow. Man. Time sure does fly. I know what I'm going to talk about.
Every time I think about how good you've been to me, I stand amazed at all the ways you made, all the ways you made.
So I have literally spent the last few days just trying to prepare to share with you guys the history behind why I wrote the Confessions album and why it means so much to me, and how I pray this testimony blesses you guys and helps you to solidify your walk with Christ and find your place of peace and repentance and love and joy and patience and long suffering, so that the fruit of the Spirit may grow and be plentiful in you.
The blessings come in right on time, not because I've been so good.
If there was one thing that I could say I wanted to take back or change about my circumstance and situation with my husband, it would be that I should have been paying attention. I should have been present to what he had going on. And if I could do it all over again, I would have supported him better. I would have heard his voice when he was going through his trials and his episodes, and I would have understood. I would have taken more compassion with him. But because I didn't, You know, it allowed the enemy to mess with him further, and I should have been there. I should have been there to support him. So I have so many things I could talk about with this album. So many. Ooh. Okay, enough deep stuff. Let's talk about the Confessions Project.
Today we are recording the song Transparent, where I'm talking about how important it is for believers and people to just be real about where they came from, so other people can understand that God still loves us all no matter what we've done.
One of my favorite songs on the Confession Project is Transparent. And the reason it's one of my favorite songs is because I'm talking about my experiences as a believer and how when I was younger and I came to the church, I felt a spirit of rejection when people should have embraced me. They judged me. And that pushed me out the door. It made me feel like I wasn't worthy. And it solidified what the enemy was trying to do in my mind. And it destroyed my self-worth. It made me feel like I couldn't go to God. I didn't have a right to because I made bad choices. You know, self-righteousness is a thing too. Sometimes as believers, once we've arrived and we've gotten to this place of understanding that God's grace has brought us through and gratitude, and now we're in a better place, then we lose all compassion and all good sense for everything that everybody else is going through. And for me in that season, I believe I lost focus of what my husband was going through. He was dealing with something, and I was more concerned about what people were going to think about what he was dealing with, instead of being present to his needs and being the spouse I should have been. And I accept responsibility for that because that was my failure. Not to excuse what he did or his behavior, but to understand that as a wife, we are helpmeets. We're there to support and to help push them. And I did not support it.
No, I'm going to sing that again. He's coming in on the bridge.
Told me the truth about what they had been through. Instead of acting like they don't have a past, then it probably would have saved me some hurt, even kept me in the church, knowing I still had a word.
Believers go through cycles of obedience, cycles of growth. We don't always get it right. And I will be the first to admit that in the moments when I thought that I was doing the right thing, I wasn't, because I was failing to trust, failing to have faith. Faith would have allowed me to allow God to do whatever he wanted to do and still serve him and still trust him. I literally quit ministry, quit praise and worship, sat down, left the church, did all of those things because I was so hurt that God didn't give me what I thought I wanted. And I forgot that all things work together for good for those who love God and are called according to his purpose.
I know it's hard to see it sometimes when you're stuck in the middle of the storm with tears in your eyes and don't understand why. You don't understand why. But God is still in control.
Somewhere along the line, I lost sight of God's positioning in my life. You know, and I have to be able to admit that. Sometimes we get so caught up in our blessings, we get so caught up in the things that God has allowed us to have, that we lose focus of the reason he even placed us in that position. For me, that was my experience. I literally did not allow God to stay in that first place when he got me where he wanted me to be. Because I was not mature enough in my faith. Because I was not committed enough in my walk. And that's a part of development. I mean, we all go through our growth spurts and we go through our bumps and bruises. That was definitely one of mine. I did not stay on the course like I should have. And that's one of the reasons why I wrote Confessions.
Up in the same track, 'cause I've been struggling with this thing, even though I know I've already been set free. And I can say the devil had me, but God already gave me victory.
You have to put God first in your marriage, because if you don't, everything else will unravel. We have to remember it is a 3-strand cord. 3. So it's not just 2. This is what 2 does. This is 2. 2 unravels. But if it was a 3-strand cord, then it holds. And it holds in place like a braid. It's not going to come loose. It's going to be strong. And somewhere along the line, I forgot that. So God gave me time to get back to myself, to remember our relationship, which was first and foremost before any other relationship, even my marriage.
Right now we're working on the song Brand New, which is actually the very first song that Edwin and I ever recorded.
Here's a new day, brand new mercy, brand new grace, and another chance just to celebrate new life because of your love.
Listen, let me tell y'all something. Don't forfeit your future for something that feels good right now, because it don't work out. It don't work out. If it doesn't align with where God is trying to take you, it's not for you. Remember that.
It's been a long time coming, but I had to get my mind right. I had to get the time right. God said he had some plans for me, plans to prosper me and give me.
I tried to dictate what was going to happen. And, that never really works out well when you try to tell God what he needs to be doing for you in your life. Not because God is not a loving father, and not because he does not want to give you the desires of your heart, but because his ways are not our ways and his thoughts are not our thoughts. We don't know what's best for us. He does. And for me, I did not realize that what I wanted wasn't where God was trying to take me. And we don't want to let go of what we have in expectation of something better. And that means I had a lack of faith. I didn't trust God enough to release it at the time. So God gave me time to get my mind back and get my head back together.
I took 2 steps forward and then I fell back. See, I was on my way, but under attack. You see, the enemy came and tried to block me. He tried to steal my joy and tried to rob me. But hold up, stop.
I am so not a perfect person. I am so faulty, so flawed, and always trying my best to be better. Every day I strive for my best. And sometimes my best isn't good enough. Sometimes I still have areas I need to grow in. And I think we all need to look at ourselves with grace, because sometimes we don't give ourselves an opportunity to see our greatness, and we allow our fears and our inadequacies to hold us back. That's not what we should do. We get to trust God in those moments when we're in doubt. And God didn't give us a spirit of fear. So if there's a spirit of fear around, we know where that's coming from.
Try to rob me, but hold up, stop, no.
After about a year of rebellion, I went through about a matter of fact, a year to the date, God sat me back down right in the same position. I mean, he has a way of placing you right back where you were so that you can rethink your decisions. And for me, that was the experience. I actually had a prophet come and tell me that the things I was doing, weren't helping me get anywhere. And God was trying to take me to a new place in the season. but I didn't listen because I was so hurt and so wounded that I just didn't listen. I didn't heed. And because I didn't heed, I wasn't in position for God to be able to move me to that next level like I should have been had I just held on long enough and allowed God to be God in my life. So there's so many things that really move me concerning God and his will. And I'm just so grateful that God is merciful and that his mercies are new every morning, because I needed every single one of those mercies to make it through my situation. Love you guys.